Hello and welcome back to another video. My name's Austin and today we're going to be talking about rowing and rowing machine terminology. There's kind of a lot of terminology thrown around with rowing, and so by you having a better understanding of all those words, knowledge is power, and it's going to just help you better understand things on your rowing journey. So let's kick things off with the rowing basics. When you're taking the rowing stroke, right before you start the rowing stroke, that position is called the catch. And the reason why it's called the catch is because in a rowing boat on the water, this is the moment that your rowing oar would catch the water. The oar would dip into the water, getting ready to take the stroke. Now on the rowing machine itself, there's no water for you to dip your oar in, but it's still sort of the same terminology. Right before you take the stroke is the catch. Now you physically taking the rowing stroke, that's called the drive. And the moment you finish the rowing stroke, that's called the finish, because the stroke is finished. And on your way back up to take the next stroke, that's called the recovery. Now, when it comes to technique cues, when you're doing maybe some rowing drills, it's important to understand sort of the breakdown of each portion of the stroke. The first initial push with your legs during the rowing stroke is commonly just called legs. I know, crazy, right? The second portion of the rowing stroke is commonly called core or trunk or body, but it's that idea of your body going from that lean forward position to that swing back. So those are sort of the three commonly thrown around words. You might hear those words interchangeably, but they're all pretty much the same thing. And then the last portion of the rowing stroke, where you bring in your arms, is commonly called arms or the arm draw. So we've got legs, core, trunk, body, and then arms. Quick knowledge check. If I told you to start this drill by sitting at the finish, do you know what that means? Hopefully you do. It should look like this. Okay, now it's time to move on to understanding the units and the numbers that are used when prescribing things like rowing workouts. When you hear the term stroke rate or see it written as SPM, this is talking about your strokes per minute, and that is essentially the cadence at which you row at. The amount of times you're going up and back, that is your stroke rate. So if you're going up and back faster, that is increasing your stroke rate. If you're going up and back slower, well then that's gonna be a lower stroke rate. And on a Concept 2 rowing machine, this is what you see in usually the top right-hand corner where it shows the number and then the S and then the division sign and then the M. That's the strokes per minute or the SPM. The next unit to be aware of is your distance. Now in rowing, distances are usually prescribed as meters or kilometers. Kilometers, kilometers, you know, the same word pretty much. But if you were reading a workout and it said 500 M, well, you're rowing 500 meters. And most rowing machines show your distance in meters automatically. But if you saw something written or said as a 2K or a 2KM, well, that's 2,000 meters or 2 kilometers. Now for my United States viewers, this might be a little kind of crazy at first because we're used to reading everything in miles or feet or whatever. But when you're rowing, you got to get used to seeing and hearing things written and spoken as meters and kilometers. One of the most important units to be aware of that is written and spoken a lot is split, or your split time, or your split per 500. And this is the standard that is used to track rowing efforts for the most part. Now to really wrap your head around what a split per 500 or a split time is think about if you were outside using a fitness watch and doing a run, and it's calculating your pace per mile or your pace per kilometer. It's the same thing with rowing, except now it's just showing you your pace for every 500 meters. And so the same thing applies. If you were running outside and you sped up, well, your pace per mile would be going down. It's the same thing when rowing. If you row faster and row harder, your split per 500 meter will decrease. And if you row slower, that number goes up. But it's a unit that is used all the time when prescribing workouts. So if you hear someone say, you know, row at this split or aim for this split, we're talking about the split per 500 meter. Now the last unit I want to touch on here for workouts is when you see things written as on or off. So if the workout was 10 strokes on, 10 strokes off. The idea is that those on strokes are your strong, intense, purposeful strokes, and the off strokes are sometimes referred to as paddle pressure or active recovery strokes, where you're still going through the rowing stroke sequence, but you're going at a very light pressure, like you're paddling on a lake on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. The idea though is even on those off strokes, you are still doing the rowing stroke sequence, but you're not nearly adding as much pressure or as much on effort as you would during the on. And here's an example to tie things all together. We're gonna row 3 intervals of a 2K row at a 24 stroke rate, aiming for a 150 split with 2 minutes of paddle pressure rowing in between each interval. So all of that right there hopefully has made sense after sort of understanding all of the different terminology that we've talked about. But I know it's kind of a lot to absorb all at once, and you're not supposed to remember all of this all at once, right? Rowing, just like anything in life, is a learning process. You got your whole freaking life to get really good at rowing and really understand all these numbers. So just take things one day at a time. Every day is another chance to learn and a chance to get better, and there's no rush. So I hope this video could help you out. I hope you learned a little bit more about the rowing terminology, and I hope it can help you in the future when you're looking up rowing videos, technique videos, workouts, etc. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Let me know what you want to see next from me. And as always, I will see you in the next video.